Okay. So that is the idea of what I'm saying is that the onCreate has those. So the parent class, this one here, the parent class SQLite Open Helper parent class has two methods that you are supposed to override. The first one is onCreate. The second one is onUpgrade. So this method here, you call it when the database is being created the first time. When the database is being created the first time, you call it. And what you have for it is that it will have codes. It will have codes. It will have code to create all the tables. Then this one here, so it will have code to create all the tables. The second one, onUpgrade, is called when the database needs upgrade. When the database needs upgrade. So what that means is that it could be possible that maybe the tables have changed, and therefore you want to move from one version to the other. So what you should have in it is that if that table already existed, you need to drop it. So it will have code for dropping a table, or it could be tables because they could be many. It also needs to have code for you to be able to create tables or transfer that. That is from the old file, from the old database or tables to the new one. So that is the way you have it. So, and these two methods, onCreate and onUpgrade, the way you pass them to SQLite database object. So methods above are passed to the way you pass them to an SQLite database object. So this is the object that you use to create and upgrade the database. And then also notice the class SQLite database has methods. It has some methods that are used to execute. They are used to execute SQLite commands. So if you have commands, SQLite commands. So if you have commands that want to run methods like, for example, execute SQL, that one, in it, you can now put, for example, create table and so on. That is, can be able to execute some statement like, for example, create a table, maybe my table and then you can specify the columns you want in terms of column 1 and so on. So you can see this method, it exists within the SQLite database that you can call now and execute within there. So that's an advantage around that. So you can create statement like create statement that creates a table, upgrade, and so on. So that is the idea. So with that in mind, I would want us to create a simple table and then see whether we'll be able to work with it and see it. So I want us to create a simple one before we go for the main one so that you can see its functionality. So I am now displaying my Android Studio. Now I'm starting a new application in Android Studio. So new project, and it's an empty activity. I want us to call it, let us call it movie. We are storing movie data. So movie SQLite. Movie SQLite.
Do you want us to code with you?
Yes, of course, always. Okay, so then I can say finish. Okay. So I want us to rename this. We can call it movie database. So then I want you to go to it now, the movie database. And in it, first of all, we change. You see, a movie database is extending up compact. I want us to change this so that it extends SQLite Open Help. So you remove that and you say it's supposed to extend SQLite, supposed to extend SQLite Open Helper. Yeah, this one here. So it should be able to extend SQLite Open Helper. We'll of course get an error. The reason is that if you see, we have not implemented the methods that we need on create and on upgrade. So that is okay. So then we need to declare the name of the database. So private static, we don't want it to change. Private static final string, and we have the database name. Database underscore name. So we call our database movies. Then we specify the version, private static final int version. It's a sorry. So it's version, and we say this is version 2. Then we now create a constructor. A constructor has the same name as the name of the class. So we create a constructor. So it will be public. Movie databases, that is the name of the constructor. So we go inside it. Inside that function. And here, the movie database is supposed to take the parameter context. So you need to import that, Alt Enter. Now, the constructor is not, of the superclass is not inherited by default, so you have to call it. So super context, comma, the database name, comma, we pass null for the issue of we pass null, and then we pass the version. Version is capital, sorry, version is capital. We wrote it as capital, this way. So that is the construct. So as you can see, the constructor presents the context, and then it calls the, it invokes the super constructor with the database name, and then this is supposed to be any event that one fired, and then the version name. Then now with the constructor created, then we can create the first method, the variable, sorry, variable. So private static. Private, static, final. We create the class is called movie table. You open it up. So it's called movie table. Static is S is small, sorry, S is small, static. Okay. So now we create the object private. Static. Final. This one we want to call it string table. The table is called movies. The next one is private. Static final. String S is capital. Quorum ID. This is the ID. Underscore ID. Then private, static, final, string, quorum, underscore title. This one is title. Private, static, final, string, quorum, rating equals to rating. Private, string, quorum stars, equals to stars. So if you look at it, what this does is that it will have created for us a table called movies. The table movie will have fields 1, 2, 3, 4. One with quorum ID, which is a unique identifier, quorum type, quorum rating, and then quorum stars, the number of stars that have been assigned to it. Now, from our discussion, we said, this is now we have created the movie table. This is what will be created with those variables. And we have called the constructor, and we have declared the two, what we call static variables. So now, what we need is to go to the onCreate, and we change this. So that onCreate now is the method that we are implementing. So here, it's not from the bundle, it's from SQLite Open Helper. Remember, now we are importing that. So SQLite database DB. So it will ask you to import, so Alt Enter, and you need to me see. That's okay. So you need to have that imported SQLite. That. So we have that, and then, so this one is not protected. Another thing, this is not protected now. This is supposed to be public. We need it, the class needs to be accessible. Now, so we don't need this interface. We don't need this. So you can just remove that. However, what we need is for us to execute some SQLite. So our DB can be called db.executeSQL. So what do you want it to do? One, you want it to create table, create a table. The table we want it to create, whose name is movie, this one here. This is the one we want. So go to the movie table and get movies. So movie table dot get the movies. Get the table. The name we want to get is the table, sorry, table. Yani, as in this is what we want to retrieve. So create table called movies, that's what we want, plus into quotes, open the brace, then into quotes. So plus so we have a movie.table plus we have movie movie table dot give us the column ID there, plus into quotes, the properties for it is that it's supposed to be an integer. An integer. It's a primary key. And we want it to be auto increment. Auto increment, comma. Quote plus movie table dot column title plus into quotes. We want it to be text. The column title is a text. The property for it is a text. Then plus movie table dot. Now we are talking about ratings. No, we have gone to the title. Yeah, ratings now. Column ratings plus this one is a text, as in its property is text. I've forgotten here, sorry, I've gotten a comma. Text, comma. I'm missing something, so I've said text, comma, here, then plus that. Auto increment, comma, then plus that. This is okay. So then we have column rating plus text, column rating. We want it to be a text, comma, space, plus movie. The next one is movie table dot the stars plus this one, we want it to be a float. So into quotes is a float. I hope I put that correctly. So you close the brackets there and then semicolon. So let me check whether that is right. So I'm saying create table, go to the movie table, get that. Not okay. So the ID is an integer, is a primary key. An integer is primary key and is auto increment, correct? Then column title. That's okay. Rating. That's okay. And that's okay. So what that does is that you'll have created the table. Now I come out of that. So we have, by doing this, we have overridden the onCreate that is defined within the SQLite Open Help. So now we go again and we create another one for upgrade. So this is not on create, but now on upgrade. So this one here is supposed to take SQLite DB, comma, and then int the version, if in case the database has been upgraded. So this is a method. So then the on upgrade has taken the database DB and then the version. So here, sorry. We are declaring a variable. This is supposed to be the old version, int old version. The old version for the database is what we are passing, comma, and then int new version. That should end now the error that you had, because we have now overridden the on create and then on upgrade. So your code now should not have errors. Yeah. So now we can call db.execute. So we say drop table if exist. Remember, we said you need to drop the table if exists. If the table exists, then we need it dropped, and that means that space plus the table that needs to be dropped is movie table dot table name. That table, semicolon. And once that is done, then we call on create. We call on create with the upgrade.
Dr. Lawrence, can you please scroll up to super? Okay, thank you.
Could you please scroll back down?
Sir, I'm having an error on if exists. That last line. Drop table if exists.
Mhm. Check that you've written it correctly
I have.
on the quote.
They're correct.
You can share your screen.
It's saying the host disabled participant to share screen.
Just 1 minute. Yeah, you can go ahead now and share.
So can you see?
Mhm. So the statement is drop table if exists, and that's into quotes. Okay. But I see any addition existed statement. Does it mean it doesn't see that gap? Can you add a space between the S and the quote?
Oh, okay. It's worked.
So can you please display the code?
Yes. So that teaches you. I know the app does nothing, and actually it is the app does nothing, but what it teaches you is the way we implement the solution for SQLite. It teaches you on how to implement the solution for SQLite. Now, I want us to take it further. It just shows you, this code just shows you the way we implement that solution, which is very important. I want us to go ahead and do more with it. So I would want you to now, the app that we designed, the form input, I want you to open it, the form input one. So that now we can do something more important with our database skills.
So we close this example.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Now we create a different one. Yeah, the form input, the one that we had So what had we called the final app that we did? We had called it what? We had gone up to what? Anybody who has been able to open it, the form input?
In that one, we had done the name, the DOB,
Uh-huh.
and the email.
Uh-huh. Okay, okay. So we want now to, there are some things that we had not done then, and we had called it just form input.
We had called it form input example.
Okay, okay. So I'm starting mine. It's taking a bit of time, but I'm starting it.
Sir, I have a question.
Yes. Mhm.
Like, for example, in this form, if you want to make the name like mandatory, how do we do that?
You just write code to make it mandatory by forcing a user that you cannot progress. You can use an if statement.
So we can't just write like Android semicolon required equals to required.
Can you not find?
Can we not write it as like Android semicolon required
Mhm.
equals to in quotes required?
Required.
Yeah,
Have you tried it?
it was giving me error.
Yeah, because I don't know required that. I see mine is giving me. Is actually crashing. My app is crashing. Now,
Sir, do you want me to send you mine?
I think that is what will eventually have to come out because, in fact, even Android Studio has hanged. So, but now it has accepted to load. I don't know whether. Let me see. 1 minute, I check whether this is the right one. So we had gone up to where the dialog box is shown. Had we added the menu?
We have a menu of next and exit.
Okay. Then I think that's okay. So that's where I want us to start from. You Okay. So what you're saying is that this app it has failed. Why? I think maybe you will share your code because this one seems to be failing. How can I get yours? How can you share? So that I don't have to wait for this one. This one seems to be having an, but I can still, let me hope I'm able to solve that problem very fast. Now, so what we had is that we had an on-click. And we had said we want this one. It's taking a lot of time. Okay. Okay, now we are set. Yes, now we are okay. Thank you, and thank you so much. Now, what I'm saying is that this is what we had there so far. So up was like this. Next, but we had added the menu item. I think this then means that mine is behind a bit, but that's not a problem. I can just do it very fast. So we had gone to the layout. So if you look at our layout, so we had added the string email. So that is the method we had. Then we had created the button. And you have said we want the button to call display next alert. The display next alert had So we had not added the menu. So under S, we had said add, right click, you say new, and you are supposed to add a new resource. So this was supposed to be called, the menu file was supposed to be data underscore input, which is an XML, and this one is a menu item. So then you had say, okay, so this is the menu file. So I told you to drag a menu item, add it there, another menu item, add it there. So the menu item, there's this one. We had said its ID. Its ID, we can just call it ID item exit. And then we had gone to the title and browsed, added and said add a string resource. No. You had said add a string value. So we had said the resource name, what we'll program is exit underscore command underscore able. And the value here was exit. So then we said, okay. Then we went to the next one, this one. The ID, we said is item next. This one title, we said we needed it to be, we had a string value, and this is supposed to be next command button. That's what we program next. Command label. And the value in it is next. Was it next? The value in it was next. Yeah, next. And then we said, okay. So when I run it, let me just check. Still works perfectly. So then I needed to add the menu. So, and we did that by going to so we went to our data input. So that is the end of that next input. I added a method called public Boolean. It was on create options menu. It takes menu. So we needed to import that. Alt enter. Import the class. So we had to get menu inflator dot inflate, and we need it to be inflated with r dot menu dot get the data input, semicolon, data input. That was a r dot menu data input, and this is menu. Yeah, menu. Correct. We inflate it with that, and this the Boolean is supposed to return true. So what that did is that you have now the menu, which is here. Seems like it's no longer being shared. Yeah, so this is the way it looks like. This one, and this is the menu. So next, and we have the menu, exit and next. So we now want to go ahead and program the on option selected. So let us do that. Okay, so now we have that. The next one is supposed to be for us to fabric Boolean on option menu or option item selected. That's the one we are using, the item. So this we import to the class. So we use the switch item dot item ID. We get the item ID. We read that. Then the body of the switch now. So case r dot ID dot, if the one that has been clicked is item next, then next item has been, we said you call display next array. Case, the next one is item ID, case item, case dot item ID next, no, not next, exit. So this one is supposed to, we said this one should have the message. So let us just have return true. We'll have the message there. And then we had the default, which is supposed to return super on item selected item. So we talked about how we handle this exit. Instead of writing finish, we can just say pop-up toast. We call the message there, and we pass the string value. You want to exit, but why not start using another application? So this was a question mark. And then we have the end of that. So this gives us an error, which we need to take care of by creating a method. So at the end of, so this is the end of the Boolean. So I need to create that method. So private, the method is void. So private void, we pop up toast that takes in a string, takes a string message, right? And now I can create a toast. So toast dot make text Then I need to import the toast here. Just 1 minute. So make text, and then we have this. Then the message we want this. Then the message we want is what will be passed as message. Yes, is message. And then we create a toast. .rengrong.show. So what you have is that now we have the button, we have everything. Now I want us to go ahead and do more with this app. I believe that we are all now at par.
Sir,
Yes.
I have an error for.
Hmm.
Can I just share my screen?
Yes, go ahead.
Over here on main.
Because you are calling main that it doesn't know what it is. Can you delete that main? You see
The whole line.
the main, the word main. Press dot, right dot. So it's called activity underscore main.
Okay.
So now, what I was saying is that I need us now add the. So I need you to go to your design. Go to your design. That is layout. Go to the layout. So I want you to add two things. First, I want you to add a text view. So drag a text view, add it. Then under containers, I want you to drag a spinner and add it. Now select the text that you've just added. So we said that the properties of the button. My button had a property called match parent. I want it to be wrap content. So this is the way it looks like. So so you have the text view and you have a spinner. So go to the text view. and click the text. Then add a string value here. You type work prompt. It's a value. You type work status. You say okay. You say okay.
Sorry, sir. You went a bit fast there.
So you have selected the text view. You then went to its text property. This one, you clicked here. And then under here, you have text value. So what I'm saying here, you type work prompt. And here you type work status.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so let us continue. The next one, I want you to select the spinner. And on the IDE, just make it spinner 1. And then on the wings, instead of match parent, instead of this match parent, just select wrap content as well for it. So this text view has the ID text view 3. It's I also need this one to be wrap content. The wings and length should be wrap content. So now we want to add another. We want to add another layout file, which is an XML file that will provide the layout for the way the spinner will look like. So what I need is you right click, you say new, you search for XML, and you say is a layout XML file. Then the name, let it be spinner underscore list underscore item. Spinner underscore list underscore item, and then you finish. Just crashed.
Wait, for the XML, we are picking which option, layout, value, or what?
Layout.
The name we've given it is? Sorry.
Is spinner underscore list underscore item. So now I'm okay. It was crashing, so that's why I needed time. So we have just created the spin item, which is this. So I want you to go to select it and go to its code. And you add a text view. with match parent, match parent. Then Android, the color for it, text color, I want it to be white. So let us check for colors and the values. The color that I want is for that content is, let me see, what I want is when a user selects it. Let us use the white. Yes, let us use this white. So you just say here, at color white. And then Android text size. Let us use a specific one, 14, use 14 SP. Yeah.
Dr. Lawrence,
Yes.
what's the code for color white?
For the white is this one, string. Sorry, color. This one.
Thank you, sir.
So now, I want us to go back to the data input activity here. And at the top here, at the class level, I want us to declare an array that will store the details. So we have private string array called status, which is equals to, so the status to store is either full-time, full-time student, comma, part-time, comma, student, comma, and other. So what we have done is that this is the data, and this is the data that we want displayed on the spinner here. This is the data we want. So when a user clicks here, we should be able to see options: full-time, student, part-time, and other here. And the way the layout is arranged is in here. The way the layout will look like, the way the content will be arranged here. So what we need then is to create an array adapter that will connect the spinner with this array. This is spinner. We want it connected with this array. So we now want to go to the onCreate method. In the onCreate method, this is the onCreate. Then you see we tied the button so bottlenecks. Now we tie the spinner. So we call it spinner SP equals to find view by ID R dot ID dot our spinner we want is the spinner one. Was it the spinner one, or do you not call it spinner one? I mean the ID for the spinner that we added. Do you not call it spinner? Yeah, this one. This is the ID I'm using. So even if you have called it spinner, it's still okay. So that's what I'm getting here. So here. So now I connect the spinner. I use the spinner. I use an array adapter to connect the array plus what is in the values that I want. So I connect it. So it will be SP dot set adapter into bracket new array adapter string into bracket this comma R dot layout dot I want it to be under spinner list. That's where it is, comma, and what I want tied to is the status. So semicolon. So you need to adopt that. So what we are doing here, just to make a comment here, is that we are creating we have created an array adapter and given it the item layout and the array data. So once we have the SP now, we have the spinner is defined. So I want you to go back to the display next so that whatever user will have, if you look at what we want it to be such that, so if you test your app,
So can you please go to the code that you're just from typing, just for a second?
this one here.
Yeah.
Done?
Yeah, I'm done.
Yeah, so the next item is for us now, we need to still repeat the same here. Now on the display next, we need to tie the spinner. So spinner SP is equals to find view by ID r.id dot spinner. And now, once we tie it, maybe I could have just it's okay, SP spinner, that's okay. Now, once that is done, this is getting the reference. I also have to come here and read what is in the spinner, what the user has selected. So I need to read what the user has selected. See here, we are reading the email that the user typed and such. So I need to read what the user has entered. So to do that, I just, after the string, to do that, I just come here and say int row equals to sp dot. I get what has been selected, get selected item position, semicolon. And then once I get the index, so here I'm getting the index of the selected item. Index of the selected item is what I'm getting now. That index, then I use it now to assign, so string, string status equals to, then I read the status is an array, I get the row, what a user will have that in that value. So I get that value. And now when adding it, instead of just adding string email, I then come here and say plus into quotes, new line character, plus now the string status. I don't know why this gives me always some problem. No.
Sir, could you go back
Sure.
to before we added the SP, this is the one you had written before.
This one,
No, down.
this one.
Yeah, that one.
So once you have done written those sections, I want you to run your app.
It's not this one. After we gave the adapter, there's,
Spinner.
yeah, that one.
This is what I would just added. Mm-hmm.
When I run my application, it's not, it's like crashing. It's
It's
like
crashing.
closing, it's closing in the phone. It's not opening.
It's crashing, you mean?
It's saying form into input example keep stopping.
Mm-hmm. Then it means there is an error.
There is no error which I can see.
There's no, I mean, there's a, yeah, there's a problem, and we need to check where the problem is. Run you up and check whether you have a problem. If you have a problem, correct it fast. Like mine seems to be having a problem with the demo. Let me start it again.
Mine is saying launch succeeded, but opening the app on my phone, it's not even opening. It's just shutting down. It's not opening.
Yeah, that is the crashing that we are talking about. There's a problem that you need to check and see what is happening. Yeah, that is the crash that you're saying. We need to see why. And that's what I'm saying. Let us look at why the problem, because I don't know any reason why it should fail, but I am not saying I'm certainly considering that I'm now also looking at mine. Seem to be failing also mine. So it's crashing. Let us see where the problem is. because it seems to be suggesting that there were some features that were used that are incompatible with the Grando 8.0. And it seems like maybe it's just what you have just added. Because what have I added? What I've just added is a spinner. And then where else would have been the error coming from? This one here. Oh, suppose we make private final string. Let's try and see.
Like, not share your screen.
Hmm?
You have not shared your screen.
Yeah, just a minute, please. Still doesn't. I'm talking about this one here. I'm talking about this private final. If about it is static final, cannot be changed. Does that kill the app? Still correct, still fails. Because what I want is, this is a static file, cannot be changed. Or could it be here? Set adopter new string r dot status, and status is properly done. Unless this is error, unless this is the one that is offending. I don't know why. Still correct. Let me check, because this is, I would assume this is the only place that I see could be reading to those errors. This one here. This one here. I've said spinner SP dot set adapter new array adapter. Here I'm saying is a string and it says is redundant. If I say string, it says is redundant string. This r dot real dot spinner list and then status. Unless that's a very friendly statement. Let me see how. Because on the raw cut. Yeah, it says this is error. Cannot be cast on Android. So cannot be cast on that. So Android career doc. Okay. Let me check these. Data input. It says whatever we are saying, whatever is selected here, row status, item position selected. SP dot get selected item position. Yeah. I'm now searching for that solution on Stack Overflow. Oh, here they say the suggestion is that whatever is given is converted to string like that. Yeah. Get selected item. Is it selected item position? Get selected. Get. This is where the problem is. Get selected. Get selected. Get item at position. Get selected item. 1 minute. So I think I'm seeing like there is a problem that I seem also not to understand. And this is an upgrade issue. This is an issue about the upgrade of the codes, but there is a problem with the fact that, and so we had said selected item position. Get selected item position. And the nini that is giving us here is that this source ID will be, I know by default, that's not what I want to get. My Android seems to be let me try and restart it, and then I'll see. Let me restart it because I have a problem. us compare what you have with this. And you tell me whether there is an error. We just, sorry, my machine was having a problem. Let us see. So we created a spinner. Then we have also gone ahead and used sp.getSelectedItemPosition. Is that what you used? Yes, getSelectedItemPosition. And then we have string status is equals to the row position. That seems to be okay. And then what else is error that I'm thinking about here? Spinner SP. Find view by D. sp.setAdopter new array adopter string this r.layout.spinner_item, status. And that seems to be exactly what I have. So sp.setAdopter new array adopter. This is a string. This comma r.layout.spinnerListItem status. That's okay. Intro sp.getSelectedItemPosition.
So can I ask you something?
Go ahead.
When you click when you click on spinnerListItem.xml,
When I click on
spinnerListItem.xml, in the
spinner list
at the top on the tabs, on the tabs, spinnerListItem.xml.
Okay,
Yes,
okay,
yes.
okay. Let me go there. SpinnerItem.xml. This one.
Yes, spinnerListItem.xml.
There
is no spinner over here.
No, the spinner is here. The spinner is here. This is where the spinner is from. The spinner is an item in the activity layout. This one.
Shouldn't it be in spinnerListItem?
Should it be?
In spinnerListItem.xml.
Where? At which point? I want to understand. At the point where we have this.
No, I'm just saying the spinner item should be in spinnerListItem.xml. That's all I was saying.
No, what we want, let me just explain. What we want is this. We want this. We want that when, so you see, we started by defining a spinner that exists in the XML. So this is a spinner. So what we are doing is that we want this spinner to be loaded, but the way the items are arranged is based on the instruction in the spinner list, this one. I don't know whether I'm making sense. So this one here provides details about the way the content will be arranged, and the way the content will be arranged. So this is where you see when we say now that in our input data, when we say that layout r.layout.spinnerList, this is the one that provides the way the content is. So if it's full time, it is going to be written there and displayed as that. That's what we are saying. So I don't think there is a problem with this portion. It is logical for me. And the error we are getting is an error that is coming up. It's not like Nini. That one would be able to detect it because it will tell us how higher. I don't know whether that problem we should persist on it because I should take time and look at it and see where the problem is. Reading an ALF string is not supported here. Because this is get item selected. That one has become difficult for me to tell where the problem is, and it's okay. I will try to pursue it and then talk about it with you guys. I'll try and look at it on my own and see where the problem is, because hey, it seems like it's a problem that is somewhere where I cannot be able to pinpoint properly. So I'll check it and then get back to you. So the other one that so what we need is now to look at the question of that storage. And I don't know whether we can go ahead without. So somebody says he has worked. Yeah. Yeah. So, and is there any difference, Dorcas?
No, there's no difference, sir.
It's exactly the same. So that's what I'm wondering why that should be a problem.
So this concept you're demonstrating, is it in the resources in Piazza?
Yeah, everything is in Piazza. Everything is in Piazza. We agreed to that several times ago. So what I need is that maybe I should change a bit, because this problem, unless I solve it, that's how we will be able to proceed. And we have so much to cover that I don't want us to waste so much time on that problem. But it is a problem that needs to be solved because it looks like we have So what I've done is that I want us to look at the issue of layout, because the layout, now this will be simple, a bit of digression from the issue of the data. So I want to share, a PDF. So I want to share a PDF that we can use for some work. So it's a document that I want to share on intents, and I want you to practice on the use of intents. As I try to solve the problem of that, and later we can talk about it. So there's a topic that we have not dealt with as such, and this is on layouts. So layout defines an app UI, which includes the visual structure and the way the components that the user sees and interacts with. So the XML layout file specifies the widgets, view objects, and widgets arrangement. So we have used linear layout, relative layout, constraint layout, but we have not used the others. So the most, I told you, this is very okay, this is okay, but the ones that that is arranged, that is recommended these days is constraint layout. So what I want in this case, I want you to look at this argument, like this button. I want you to design this. You look at that button, you see the way it is. And then you also look at linear layout, the way it works. You design that and that button. Then you also look at the relative layout, the way those ones come out. You also design for, so that is relative layout, constraint layout. You also design for constraint layout. You look at the way it works and such. And yeah, that constraint layout, please, I want you to look at that. Yeah, if you can go up to constraint layout, that is okay. That is supposed to be page 15. And you design each one of them, you implement so that you see the properties. Everything is provided there. So I want to share this document. So I want to share this document with you guys and share the link because it's a bit heavy document. So on the chat, check on the chat, shared. You have found it? You have seen the document? Share, you have seen the document?
Yeah.
Okay, Dorcas, you have it, right?
Yes.
Nice. So what I want you to do is you go to the, for example, and don't just copy paste. I hate copy pasting because what we are looking at here is running a concept. So I want you to go, for example, the first one. You look at the idea of the way the buttons have been placed. You design it. then go to the next one, hivyo. Relative layout, constraint layout, all those and linear layout. Nataka kuona hizo buttons zote mwene mkiwekea vizuri so that you understand the way constraint layout, relative layout, all those work.
So, and for this other one, it's in which lecture? In the resources? Is it lecture 5? You mean week 5?
The one, you mean the one on what you are doing, the storage?
Yeah.
The storage must be written something persistent. Check for something persistent.
Okay.
Can you see it persistent?
100 persistence.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So I want to know who is in as you work on that example. Shah is in. John is not in. Wafa Bachani is not in. Noor. Muska Khan is in. Kasego is in. Felix not in. Ibrahim not in. Bilal in. Hassin not in. Aram in. Brandon Odhiambo in.
Yes, I'm in.
Who is that?
Brandon.
Who is that?
No, it's Brandon. I'm in. I'm present.
Oh, Brandon. Yes. Barara not in. Dolcas is in. Benson Kirubi not in. Lucira.
Sam here.
Okay. Benson is not in. Sheikh Mohammed not in.
Dr. Lawrence, Felix
Yes.
is in. He is just raised his hand. He has mic issues.
Okay. Noted. So what I am suggesting is this, guys. I'm suggesting that you work on those examples, you understand them, and then somebody, Aram, you have raised your hand. Go ahead. You want to say? Yeah, I've noted you are in, Aram. If it is the issue of the timetable, it was the issue of attendance. So I'm saying on that example, take time and look at the way the layouts are done. It's a very good exercise for you to test it so that you can see the way layout hierarchy, the way they are done. And then you look at an example of linear layout, an example of relative layout. So I want to give you like how many minutes? To be able to achieve that job at a constraint layout. How many minutes do you think you need? As long as you're not going to copy paste, so that you have the one that has please log in, username, password, all that.
Question.
Mm-hmm.
So like in this document which you have sent, it's starting with, let's say, linear layout. So first we do linear layout and then we see how it works. Then we use the same document for constraint layout. we see how it works. Then the same for the linear layout, relative layout, and the same.
Yes, you are creating all those projects. You go creating them and seeing the way they look like.
Or we can just create in the same document.
What is the problem of creating in different documents? You can create several activities that are dictated by different layouts. Yeah, so I think something like 30 minutes would be okay for you to finish that. So you can do it 30 minutes as you take a bit of a break. So at 12:30 around there, hope to see your work.